announce the show.
Well, hello, Sheriff.
Well, you did.
Is this how are we working?
Yes.
Are we on?
We are on. And
Are we on the air? Are we live? We everything?
The law enforcement hour is on.
This is a local law enforcement hour, and we've been having some technical difficulties for the past 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. Did you learn anything, Blake?
Yes, I've recorded. I have taken some mental notes, and hopefully by January 31st, I'll have this down pat.
What year?
2026.
You would think, how long we been doing this? We've had this show for how long?
Over a year.
Maddie, we gave Maddie a lot of grief too. We was always giving her a lot of grief because it seemed like we was always just a little bit behind with her. But I think it's obvious now that it wasn't her. So I apologize, Maddie, if you're listening, for giving you all that heck. Because it's obvious now that it's an equipment malfunction.
Yeah, now they've got an idiot running the show. And
I don't appreciate you calling me that.
no, I was talking about me.
Oh.
I was talking about me, not you. Thank you. You came in here and saved the day.
That's awesome. Well, the one big thing about this show is that the election. This is the first show that we've had since the election.
What about that?
Are you happy with the way the election?
Listen, I can't tell you how happy my son. So every night we pray before bedtime, and I'm talking out of the blue. 3 nights ago, obviously, it just goes to show you how little people pay attention. Mm-hmm. Little people pay attention. Out of the blue, so I start prayer time off, and then he has a turn, and then my daughter has a turn, and right in the middle of his prayer, he says, "Dear Lord, thank you for President Trump getting elected, so now our country can be saved." And I mean, we're sitting there, head bowed, eyes closed, hands folded, and I mean, I have to just open up my eyes and I look at my wife, and I'm like,
"How old is he?"
He's 5.
Oh, that's cool.
He's 5. Just
that's good stuff.
Yeah, out of nowhere, dear Lord, thank you for letting President Trump get elected. I mean, it was great. That will go down as one of my.
Well, we had a little election night get together at a friend of mine's business, small group of us, and of course, everybody. I felt good about the way the election was going to turn out, but I didn't. But I also remembered the last one, the 2020 election, and so I think me and everybody else was kind of staying up late just to see what happened, if anything happened, and I couldn't do it. It was 11:30 and I was going out. I couldn't hold my eyes open. I was trying, and I said, I got to go, man. I'm not going to be able to drive home because I was out of it. So I got up and got me something to drink, and I left, and I said, well, I'm good now. I'll sit in the recliner the rest of the night and I'll watch it. I woke up at 15 after 2. And it was across the top of the TV screen, that he was the projected winner, and he'd got Pennsylvania, and that was the big one, those 19 there, and then I was like, that's awesome. So
I stayed up till about 12:30, and I was struggling, and I thought to myself, if I try to hang with this, and it's like other elections, they're like, oh, we won't know until the next day. I'm going to be mad. That I tried to hang with it, and then they're like, well, we'll have to find out later. But then I got to thinking, if I try to hang with it and he loses, the next day is going to be a bad day for everybody in my household. So I just went to bed.
Well,
I just went to bed.
You can say what you want to about other states. Tennessee's got their stuff together.
Yes,
on,
they do.
on elections.
Mm-hmm.
We got our stuff together. We know what we're doing. I mean, local elections, just a local election. The polls close at 7. I mean, early voting numbers are out before 7:15, and before 8 o'clock. Everybody knows who won and who lost,
Yep.
in our local elections. And it's not that far off on our state elections, neither.
Yeah, they do a good job.
I don't know what the problem is with some of these other states. I really don't. I mean, you can speculate all you want to, but I think the mail in, and what's the other ones that go out before election day? Here's my opinion. You know what? If you can't get your butt up on election day or during early voting, and if you don't care enough about your country or your home to get your butt up and go vote, then you don't need to vote.
I agree. It's kind of like in court, what they call indigency. If you're not in a nursing home, if you don't have a debilitating disease, documented, disabled, I don't think you should mail it in.
Mm-mm.
Get up. I mean, show your civic pride. Go stand in line like a lot of people.
That's it.
And go press them buttons.
Yeah.
I'm about to get on a soapbox right here. But hey, it turned out.
Turned out good. I've got a newfound faith for right now. I think his cabinet picks are pretty freaking incredible.
They
so
are.
far.
So the guy that was over ICE at one time, that is now his new border czar. I don't know how many YouTube videos you've watched of this guy, especially with AOC trying to grill him, and he just puts her in her place. We are about to witness a part of American history that has never been done before, and that's the mass deportation. I don't know how
Well,
they
have to.
Yeah, yes, they do.
I mean, they have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at what's come into our country over the past 3 years and 9 months. I mean, they have to. There's no way around it. They're going to have to. They're going to have to deport a bunch. And you know what? I mean, we'll do our part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's part of it.
They said
we'll
that
do our part.
There will be very few bills like the bill that cost as much as this mass deportation. But I look on it in hindsight when you take away the possibility of the future crimes, the future assaults on females, the drugs, the drug dealing. The bill may seem pretty big at first, but what you'll save in the long run, I don't think you can put a price on that.
No, you can't. And that's the kind of stuff that affects our jobs. That's the stuff that hits home, is the impact of drugs, especially fentanyl, coming across the border. I'm telling you, you're going to see the biggest price increase. I've always said, and I've been saying this for the past 3 years, that we've seen the biggest price reduction in street drugs than we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
When the last administration, the current administration, took office, we saw a price drop like most people can't even imagine.
Yep.
I mean, a gram, what used to be a $100 gram was now a $30 gram.
Yep.
And that goes all the way up to kilos and pounds. But now, with what's going to be happening on the border, you're going to see the increase now. And with that, you're going to start seeing the increase in drugs.
Yep.
I mean, you're going to start seeing the increase in crime because the bad guys aren't going to get the dope like they could.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to get which, I mean, hopefully it'll help a lot of people get clean. If you don't have, most of your addicts has got 4 or 5 dealers in their phone. They'll check with their number one guy. Their number one guy's out. They'll go to their number two guy. Their number two guy's out. They'll go to the number three guy, and the number three guy goes, "Yeah, I got to charge you a little bit more because I'm about out." And they're like, "I don't care."
Right.
So now when the addict gets on his phone and he goes, number 1, don't have it. 2, don't have it. 3, don't have it. He goes through all of his phone and nobody's got any. What's he going to do?
Yep.
That's either a really good reason to get clean, or he's going to go somewhere else.
Yep.
But it's going to be a really good 4 years. I feel like that, and the presidential orders. A lot of people don't know how much those presidential orders impact law enforcement, but they do. I'll give you an example. Our DRMO program, where we get our military surplus. And I'll go all the way back to when Obama was in office, that whole militarizing the police BS that he started over the Ferguson, Missouri riots. Mm-hmm. Well, what they done is they put these presidential orders in place, and we couldn't get hardly anything from that DRMO program anymore. Stuff that we could use.
Right.
No more PPE, no more Kevlar, no more ammunition, no more guns, no more even light armored or up armored vehicles. None of that stuff was available. Well, then Trump gets in office in 2016. Well, he puts the orders, he does a reverse on the presidential orders and opens it back up.
And you can get helicopters.
Where we could get stuff again, you know? Well, then what happens when Biden gets in office? He does the same thing that Obama did. You know, he put the orders back in place. Well, when Trump gets back in there, that'll be opened back up. That's a big deal for us, too.
And that is a big deal. I mean, you know, you can say what you want to. The military, they go overseas and take care of business while everybody else is here at home. And a lot of people don't realize law enforcement has just as many threats, just as serious threats here at home as our soldiers do overseas. Yes, we don't have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people here in the United States, you know, unleashing mortars, you know, but at the same time, we have a wave of crime that is armed that we have to face just like our guys overseas. So why not? I mean, we're already a paramilitary organization. Why not give us the equipment to keep us safe and to keep our citizens safe?
Well, like I said, it was all started during the Obama administration with that term, militarizing the police. And luckily, that's gone. Well, it's about to be gone. I tell you what else we're going to be seeing over the next couple of months, and the border is already seeing it. The repercussions of Trump about to take office have already started. I don't know if you're keeping up with some of the news. There's already a lot more people trying to come in because they know when he gets in there, it's going to be locked down. Yep. I'd like to know what the cartels are thinking right now because they're about to be. I wouldn't want to be a cartel. I wouldn't want to be running a cartel right now.
Well, right off the bat, they know that their pocketbook is going to be hurt because the millions on top of millions that the cartels have made by funneling, you know, these immigrants in. One guy they interviewed the other day paid $20,000 just to be able to be led to the border where he could walk across, and he was led by a cartel mule. They don't have
to get them in anymore. They just got to get them to a port of entry.
That's it.
And they walk up and say they're seeking political asylum. Mm-hmm. They assign them an adjudicator and do a quick investigation. They sign a form. They fingerprint them, get a little bit of DNA. They sign off on them. They give them some money and a cell phone and tell them to be back in 10 years for a court date. I know because I was down there. I saw it firsthand. It's the most asinine thing that you've ever seen in your life. The policies have been the problem. I got so mad during that debate, one of the debates, when they were talking about how they wanted to put more border agents and more equipment down there to fight the influx of drugs and people. And I'm screaming at the TV saying, that's not the problem. The problem are the policies.
Yep.
You know, this whole idea that all you got to do is come across with your hands up and say, I'm seeking political asylum, and they wave you in. You know, it's not talking about all the gotaways. You know, the gotaways are the ones that are the real bad guys.
Right.
Because they knew that there was a possibility at a gate that they might be turned away.
Yep.
They knew that. So those are the ones. There's no telling what's in our country. But plus, I feel better about it now.
The Chinese military aged males is, I mean, come on. We've been watching people coming across our borders for years. But I mean, I don't know. Let's go back to the Obama days. When did you ever see a newscast of military-aged Chinese males crossing the border? I can't recall.
No, it would have been national news.
And that's alarming. And especially with Biden during his meeting with Trump the other day, or maybe it was yesterday. They were actually public about the conversation. Trump asked Biden, what is the United States' biggest threat right now? Because when Trump took office, it was North Korea. And Biden openly said, our biggest threat is China. That's
Ginger?
Another soapbox.
What do you think?
Well, let me tell you what. My birthday was November 5th. Best birthday ever.
Well, happy birthday.
That's great.
Thank you.
That's great. Ginger from the animal shelter. You brought one of your who's your co-pilot?
My co-pilot is Winnie. She's about 5 years old. She was adopted out about 4.5 years ago, but her owner got sick and couldn't take care of her anymore. So she came back to us about maybe 4 to 6 months ago. So she needs a new family, or she needs somebody to foster her for the holidays. As you can tell, she's extremely loving and loves to give kisses.
Well, she's pretty chill. I've noticed that
Yeah, she is.
She's a pretty chill dog. She's not yapping. Is that a word? A yapping dog?
Yelping. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
yapping.
she might. If you ignore her, she's going to yap.
Is she a little vocal?
She can be a little vocal if you ignore her much.
Now, Ginger was kind of giving me a hard time when she got here because I cracked a little bit of a joke. People know I joke. I'm a joker. I like to cut up a little bit. She pulled up. We had a house over on a corner of, what was it, Mar and Deller.
Yeah.
We did an eviction, and there was a couple of dogs there. Well, the owner went to jail because he was told not to come back, and he didn't listen. He came back and camped out there that night. So when the guys came to change the locks next door, he's still there. So we gave him a home for the night or a couple of nights, wherever. But anyway, he had a couple of dogs up there that he said he could get somebody to come get them, and he was dragging his feet. So we called Ginger, and Ginger showed up in the doggy van, the shelter van. But I didn't think anybody was driving it when she pulled up. It come turning around the corner, it's pulling up, and I'm thinking, who's driving this van? And then I see her forehead about too much of a dash. She comes rolling up, and I said, you need a booster seat.
So I'm like, what are they all looking over here at me for? I'm like, can they tell already that I have like food in my teeth or something? You know, everybody's just grinning. Then he says, I needed a booster seat.
So, Ginger, you said something interesting a while ago. You said that she needs a good family or adopted for the holidays. Did I understand that right?
We have a program called Home for the Holidays. So where people can come and get Winnie and keep her for the holidays for us, you know, and it starts November 15th, which is tomorrow, and then it goes through January. Now, you wouldn't have to keep them that long. Of course, we would love for everybody to do that. We would love for them to fall in love and keep them forever, yes. So they'll have all their shots, all their vaccinations and everything, and can go home with you. Like Miss Winnie, she is housebroken. So she's already, you know, she's kind of chill, as we said, and she's housebroken. So I think that she would be perfect, but we have probably 99 other dogs at the shelter that they're looking to go home for the holidays, just, you know, to get out of the shelter. It gives us a chance to see, you know, for the people who are fostering them to tell us how they get along in their home. We've already got a couple of out already being fostered, and, you know, the lady asked me, well, how does he get along with cats? I'm like, well, we don't have cats, so I don't know. But she sent me a picture yesterday, I think it was, where looked like he was laying on the couch and the cat was right next to him. So now we know he gets along with cats, right, and he likes to snuggle. So, you know, we try to spend as much time as we can at the shelter with each individual dog, but there are 100, and there are, you know, 4 of us, and we're not all there on the same day. So it's really great. I think this program is really good. Will give them time to get out.
So right now you're saying that you could physically let 100 dogs go right now.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
There's that many.
That's a lot of dogs.
You know, and they're good little dogs. I adopted that one, 3 months ago? I guess it was.
Yeah.
Something like
name?
Henry.
Henry?
Yeah, little old dog with the gray face.
Yeah.
And I was kind of worried about him with a cat because my daughter, you know, it's a really long story, but my daughter gave me a cat and I couldn't say no, so I did. I took the cat, and I didn't know how Henry was going to do around the cat. Well, the first time they meet, man, he just takes after the cat, and the cat runs up in a tree. Well, Henry's not a big dog, and the cat's a good-sized cat. So one day he caught the cat, Well, he hasn't tried to catch the cat again.
Did
He learned.
Did the cat?
He learned his lesson.
Yep.
And now he just chases the cat for fun, you know, or the cat will hide and Henry will come walking by and the cat will run out and jump on his neck and then he takes off, you know. So I don't think he ever really wanted to eat the cat.
Right.
I think he just wanted to chase it. But when he caught it that one time, backed it up in a corner, then Ahmed, which is my cat's name because he's a terrorist, he let him have it, and then it was he was done. He was like, okay, all right, I just wanted to see what happened. Now I know, and we're cool.
Yeah,
But-
that happened with one of my dogs. He was a Rottweiler German Shepherd mix, and he just kept sticking his nose at my cat, and she would just bat him, you know. And he did it. I looked at him. I said, "She is going to get you." And he did it one more time, and she let those nails out, buddy, those claws, and she went after that nose, and he yelped, and little blood spots all over. He never did that again.
Oh, they're vicious. I mean, a cat. Yeah, Henry learned his lesson. My nephew has got. He messaged me the other day. He's got 3 jackrats, half Jack Russell, half
Rat terrier.
rat terrier. Cool little dogs. I mean, they don't get that big. They don't get over a foot tall,
Yeah.
10 inches tall. Good little short-haired inside dogs. He's wanting to get rid of. He's wanting to get rid of them soon because he's got to go up and see his mom, my sister, up in Ohio. So if you know anybody looking for jackrats,
Well, you know, have him give me a call. You've got my number, and he can shoot me some pictures of them because we have people coming in all the time that want smaller dogs. We can't take them
yeah,
in.
yeah, I told him that. He says, I don't want to have to wind up trying to take them and put them in some kind of a shelter. And I said, surely you
No,
won't have to.
As a matter of fact, I think somebody came in today looking for like a Jack Russell kind of mix.
And they're cool looking little dogs. I just put them up online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're cute.
I
and-
would take one, but I can't. I got Henry and the cat. I got enough. I got one dog, one cat. I'm in good shape.
I can't believe how good she's been. I'm sitting here going through my mind, and every dog I have ever had would never sit here this good and be this loving. And I've had everything.
Well, she's chewing a little bit. on
I've
my
had everything
finger,
from
but
a
yeah.
Cocker Spaniel to a police canine, and I'm sitting here like I've never seen a dog. Somebody needs to come up here and adopt Winnie.
They do.
They do. She's
So the dogs that you have though, at the shelter, they're strays, right?
Yes,
That's just showed up and they don't have a home. So
they don't have a home.
and they've come
or-
from either us or the police department.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Typically now it's either from the sheriff's department, your department, or the police department. Every once in a while we'll take in some strays. I did the other day because they were in such bad shape, and this lady was like beyond overwhelmed at them. So
We had a felony animal cruelty case from the weekend. I sat down and we go over the reports every Monday morning. Well, it was Tuesday morning because Monday was Veterans Day. But I saw the report come across my desk with the pictures attached to it, and we made arrests on that one.
good.
Yeah, made
I
arrests on
love
it.
to hear that.
You got to take care of your animals. There's this idea that you can just tie them up out in the backyard and give them a little food and give them a little water every now and then, and it's okay. Well, it's not. It's actually a criminal offense,
Yes.
and you will go to jail if we catch you. This animal was sick, I think, and it was pitiful. I mean, it was pitiful. The pictures would break your heart.
what I say, is it a Class B misdemeanor? Do you know right off?
No, let me get on my phone.
Oh, it ain't
I
that
need, no, I
important.
need to look up. I need to look up our leash law too, because I'm always telling people it's not. I guess you could call it a leash law, but it's allowing animals to roam at large is the way it reads.
So while he's looking that up, so what's new at the shelter? Anything big happening lately, or gonna happen, or?
You know, well, I'll tell you, we have one of our dogs that's been there for the longest. His name is Ryder. The Canine Solutions is training him for a couple weeks for us. Ryder has actually been at the shelter for 3 years. So
Oh.
he was, I guess, when he was there, when it was probably under the police department.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that until we started running in some reports. I thought nobody had been there for a little over a year. And I looked at him and I thought, that's guy had to be entered wrong. But he's actually been there for a little over 3 years. So we're really hoping that he'll come out of the training and be a little bit more socialized, and also, know how to sit, stay down, walk on a leash. So it'll make him really highly adaptable. He's really cute too. I don't know why he's been kind of looked over.
So the training he has is just your basic formal training. Like you said,
Exactly, right.
Sit down,
Yeah.
stay.
That is what they're hoping with him, because he's a little shy. He's not shy around us, but he warms up really quickly. We took him to an adoption event at the airport, and he stood back a little bit, and then when people started loving on him, he was like, okay, I like this. So he was good with men, women, children on that day. So
I'm glad you asked that, because I meant to ask you that the other day. While you have these dogs at the shelter, if there's any obedience training going on.
there's not. I would really like to.
It'd be nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's nothing more. Nothing makes a dog more sellable than when they at least know sit, stay, down, and no. I mean, I always tell people, that's the number one thing you teach a dog is no first.
Right.
They have to know no, and then you can teach them sit and down and stay. And
It's kind of funny that you asked that question. That's how I got into working at the Humane Society in Memphis and doing all the dog stuff. Is I had the Rottweiler German Shepherd mix I was talking about earlier. I wanted him to be a therapy dog, and the woman that was going to help me do that had just started training the dogs at the Humane Society there, and so I started helping her, because then I was learning more to help him, right? And so she got sick and stopped, and I just kept on. I trained the dogs there for years and years. And then when they got adopted, they would give the adopter my number. And, one thing went to the other, and then I started running the Humane Society there.
So cruelty to animals is an A misdemeanor. A second or subsequent conviction for cruelty to animals is an E felony.
Wow.
A violation of any restriction imposed by sentencing court pursuant. Yeah, so it's an A misdemeanor, but second time offense is a E felony. So, and then our leash law. Give me just a minute while I'm looking.
While he's looking at that, how many dogs a month do y'all average getting adopted?
It's picking up. We are right at somewhere between, I think, average probably 18 to 20.
Okay.
When I first got to the shelter, we were at 9 or 10 or something. So it's really picking up. I think being on programs like this and the radio station and in general has really helped get the word out that we're here and we have great dogs to be adopted, like Winnie.
So, do we have any programs in the county, like spade and neuter programs? Like, let's say, because one thing I've learned, or I've noticed, in law enforcement over the years, is that time and time again, I'll see an elderly person or an elderly couple, and they'll have almost an unintentional puppy mill.
Exactly.
Because they love them dogs, and then, bam, this pregnancy happens, and there's 6 more dogs, and then bam, she's in heat, there's another pregnancy, and next thing you know, you've got 20 dogs.
Exactly. So Folka has a program that helps with spays and neuters. They work with a couple. They work with a vet here in town, and then they work with a CASA that's out of town, and so those are low cost. I don't know that they have any that's no cost, maybe, or very low cost. And I think they're making a really good difference in that. I want to say that they have, and I know they'll correct me if I've gotten it wrong, but in the last couple of years they've spayed and neutered. I want to say it was over 400 dogs.
Oh, okay.
And they do cats as well. I don't remember how many cats, but so that I think that people out there need to know that resource is available. Because again, the same thing. People will come out there. Well, I've got these 15 dogs that I want to donate to you, and my eyes get it's like, no, we don't take donations of dogs.
Right.
But and you ask them, well, how did this happen? Well, I didn't have the money to get this one spayed,
Right.
or neutered or whatever. And it's like, well, if you could have just saved the money up that time, it would have saved you the heartache and all the food that you need to be to feeding them over the long run. But I think sometimes people just it's kind of like that, you can't see the forest for the trees sort of thing. So, but FOCA does have programs. You can find them on Facebook for all that information, and it's Friends of Lawrence County Animals. There, I think we may have something about them on our Facebook page as well. If we don't, I'm going to add that. I'll double check and add that to it as well.
Awesome.
I don't know if you've ever read the TCA for allowing animals to run at large. The wording has got some really funny parts in it, The short version of it is 448401, and it talks about, because you get this a lot when somebody complains about some dogs. It's my neighbor's dogs. They're in my yard. They're tearing up. They got in my garbage bin. We go to the neighbor, and they say, well, that's not my dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I give it some food every now and then, but somebody dropped it a while back. Well, it talks in this about the owner. The definition of the owner means a person who, at the time of the offense, regularly harbors, keeps, or exercises control over the dog. That's the owner. Mm-hmm. And we have to explain that to them. If you're feeding that dog every now and then, you're allowing that dog to sleep on your porch, you're harboring that animal, so you're responsible for its actions. Mm-hmm. So this whole idea that, it just showed up, and, it's not my dog. I didn't buy it. I think that misconception is, if it wasn't given to me and I didn't buy it, then it's not mine, just because, I buy it some food every now and then. But we get that a lot.
And that's when you have to be like, sir, you say it showed up 4 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the short version of that law is you have to keep your dog on your property. And you're responsible if your dog goes on somebody else's property and causes damage. I had another report that I looked at that came over my desk Tuesday, and it was one of our local cattle farmers, and he lost 3 calves by a pack of dogs. And we explained to him that, you are allowed to take care of your livestock. If you have animals on your property causing damage, you are allowed to take care of those animals by any means necessary. And then we'll deal with the owners if there's a problem with it. Well, nobody wants to claim ownership of the dogs, of course, in
Right.
the area. But anyway, I mean, you're looking at $5,000 is what that farmer's out of pocket for those 3 calves. That's on the light end. And then I talked to another guy today who lives down the road, and he said, so I heard farmer, what's his name, reported that he lost some calves. He said, well, I dealt with the same dogs 6 months ago with my cows. And and I said, well, if we're going to get involved, we got to have proof. Mm-hmm. We got to have proof. We got to have eyewitness statements, or we've got to have cell phone camera footage of the dogs doing the damage or something. But we found out that 2 of them belong to one of our local jailbirds. Mm-hmm. That's the best word I could come up with right there. One of our frequent flyers. But I mean, unless he fesses up to knowing what the dogs did, then I mean, we don't have anything we can do. But people need to understand that, number one, if your animals get off your property and cause damage, you're liable for those damages. Number one, that's also an offense. If we come to your house, if we get a call and they say Blake's not doing anything, his dogs is running up and down the neighborhood, And I go over and I see Blake for the first time, and I say, "Listen, what's up?" And he said, "Man, they're inside dogs. I let them out for a little while, and they took off, and yeah, it won't happen again. You're probably going to get a written warning. The next time, if there is a next time, we're going to fill out a citation, cite you into court, and you're going to have to come up there and explain to the judge why your dogs are still roaming the neighborhood." But just to give you an idea, in the month of October, we had 42 calls, animal calls. That's over one a day.
Yeah.
Is what we had, and I guarantee you we'll have more in November, because I've been listening to the radio for. I mean, it seems like it's 2 out of 10 calls that come across the radio now are involving somebody's dogs or somebody's animals somehow doing some damage to somebody's property.
I get those calls too, and I tell them to call you.
Well,
Because
I mean,
it's just like, my neighbor's dogs are out. Can you come do something about it? I said, you're going to have to call law enforcement on that. I can't come get your neighbor's dogs.
well, I mean, it's obviously a problem. I mean, you're
Yeah, right.
overcrowded at the shelter.
Yeah.
We're overwhelmed with call volume. I mean, freaking take care of your animals. Number one, keep your animals on your property. That's the biggest thing you can do. Either get one of those containment systems or bury you a fence, one of those containment fences, whatever. It doesn't, the law doesn't specify what you do. You can have them on a run, you can have them in a pen. However, you have to keep your dogs on your property. If you'll do that, everybody will be happy. And you have to feed them, and you have to water them, and you have to provide them with shelter.
Right.
And shade from the summer heat. I mean, you just can't tie a dog to a stake out in the middle of your yard and put a dog house out there. That's not good enough. You got to provide them with some shade. You know, we're in Tennessee. It gets 110 degrees here on the heat index, you know. Just use common sense. But that's the biggest thing. Keep your animals on your property.
Well, in not to beat a dead horse, so many things today is expensive, right? I mean, no matter what, whether it's eggs or blue jeans or gasoline, so many things are expensive. If your dog bites a small child or bites anybody, and they have to go to the ER just to get checked out and make sure everything. I mean, you're looking at $1,400 for an ER visit, or in this case, a group of dogs is running around.
You can almost guaranteed you're going to get sued too.
I mean, yeah.
It's almost a guarantee that you're probably going to get charged.
Yep.
You're going to have to go to court and deal with that. Then you're going to have to deal with the liability. You're going to get sued. There was another case. I won't mention where it was or the specifics, but an individual at this house called what is it when you have food brought to your house?
A DoorDash.
DoorDash. And DoorDash person gets out with the food and gets up on the porch, knocks on the door. 2 dogs come running out of the doggy door
Oh, mercy.
and tore this person to shreds. I mean,
Wow.
tore this person to shreds. It was some pretty serious wounds. And she had and I don't know if she's ever recovered. But that's a guaranteed lawsuit.
Yeah.
Guaranteed lawsuit. So just put your dogs up, put your animals up, keep them on your property. If they stay on your property, then you're not going to deal with us. You're not going to have to go to court. You're not going to have to and feed them and water them, take care of them.
It's amazing to me how many people have dogs that don't have fenced yards.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest shock moving from Memphis to Lawrenceburg is like everybody in Memphis has a fenced in yard. I mean, even if you don't have a dog, you have a fenced yard. And so here, adopting out dogs to people who don't have fences, it's been a little hard for me to do that because I'm afraid they're going to wind up coming back or, other things. Or you're going to get a call that the dog's running at large, and then when you check the microchip, it's coming back to us. It's somebody that we've adopted the dog to.
Well, and the law it's common sense. I mean, there's provisions in there when it comes to hunting dogs and
Right.
and other if you're moving dogs from one area to another or something. There's some provisions in there, but the bottom line is you have to keep your dogs on your property. And if they
Right.
get off your property onto somebody else's property, then you're liable for the damages they cause. And you know what? If Farmer Joe kills your dog because your dog was on his property killing his livestock, then you don't have no ground to stand on.
That's it.
Zero.
You know, and I hate that. I've actually had to put down a dog that was running, and it's not a pretty sight. But you know, one of our local vets, and I'm not going to mention their name, but that was actually me and him was having a conversation one day. That was actually one of his final questions from the vet board right before he graduated college, was if you get a call that there's a dog running cattle, and you respond, what are you going to do? And he said, well, I'm going to reach behind my seat, I'm going to pull out my 243, and I'm going to put the dog down. And he said the look on their face was, you know, just kind of like, he thought, okay, I'm not getting my license. But, you know, coming from this area, knowing how precious and how expensive livestock, you know, are, especially when, you know, they get killed, and now that's money that you don't have, you know, coming towards your family. That's just, it's the facts of life. It's hard, but like the sheriff said, if you'll do what you're supposed to and keep your dogs on your property and off of DoorDash people, you're going to be fine.
We had another case similar to what you're talking about. This guy had an expensive German Shepherd. He was an inside dog, and he got out. He got over on the neighbor's property and was having a field day with his chickens.
Ooh.
And some of his peacocks. He had these, those expensive peacocks
Them are
too.
expensive birds.
Yeah, and he wore them out. I mean, I think he chalked up 2 or 3 fatalities before before the guy, you know, shot the dog. And the owner of the dog was just sideways. You know, his mindset was, well, you didn't have to shoot him, you know. And the guy says, you don't understand. There was no way I was going to go out there and try to catch that dog.
Right.
It's not going to happen. I'm not going to get eat up by him.
Yep.
You know, the bottom line is he was on my property and he was killing my livestock. Guy didn't like the answer that we gave him, but you know what? And I mean, he was a pretty shepherd too, big pretty German Shepherd. But it happens. Anyway, what'd you do for Veterans Day? Let's change gears.
I called my mama, and I told her thank you. Well, I'm lying. I told my mama. She called me before I could call her, and I told her thank you for her service. She is a veteran of the United States military and local National Guard. She had a deployment to Kuwait for, I think it's around 18 months. She got to come home one time for about 2 weeks and then, you know, went right back. So between that and me and my group of 2, we're 10-8.
You didn't go
calls.
10-8. You didn't go to the parade.
I didn't. I didn't go to the parade. I had.
Well, it was a great day for the parade. You know, last year, year before last, I'm always in the parade. I always enjoy being in the parade. I used to take my dad before my dad passed away. He was a Korean War vet. But 2 years ago, I got an invite to ride in one of the old military Jeeps. Now, this guy may be listening. If he isn't, he may catch it later on.
He's got a nice Jeep.
Well, there's 2 of them, right? So there's 2 older dudes got Jeeps, and I'm calling them older dudes. I'm not saying they're elderly. They're older dudes. They're older than I am. I'm good friends with both of them. Anyway, they said, well, you want to ride this year in my Jeep? I'm like, perfect, yeah. Starts raining. There's no top on the Jeep, right? It's all right. I'm tough. I'm a Marine. I mean, I can, you know, I'll be fine, you know. So I kind of pulled my jacket up over my neck, you know, and hunkered down. So we get through the parade, right? And we turn on, I think it was 3rd Street or 4th Street, and the engine dies. About the time the engine dies, the bottom freaking fell out. Now, it had been a steady drizzle before that, but I mean, it freaking fell out, just pouring down. And we're sitting there in the middle of the road, right in front of Lawrenceburg Marine. So he's messing with it, and he's checking this and changing that and trying to get it to start, and it'll turn over, but it won't start. It was out of gas.
Oh,
Oh, no.
He ran it out of gas and didn't know it was out of gas. But it ran out of gas in the middle of the road in the pouring rain. And I hope he's listening, because I'll never let him forget it. So anyway, last year I think I was in the other old military Jeep, but this year I just done it in my V. And I had my son's home from the Air Force, and he jumped in with me, and but it was such a nice day. I mean, the weather was perfect. It was sunny and about 65. I mean, it was just a perfect day. The huge turnout in this little community for Veterans Day. It was a fun time. But
now is that I don't know, and maybe they're both the same, but the Jeep with the shovel mounted on the side of it. I mean, it just, I know what's cool about a shovel, but it's just like you can almost just stand there and like go back.
Well, there was a guy, a younger dude, and I can't remember his name. He was in it this year, and he had the whole outfit, man. He had the World War II top and bottom, the helmet. He had the M1 Garand mounted on the front.
Really?
Yeah, of the Jeep. Yeah, it was a good looking
He
setup.
showed up and showed out.
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah, it was a good looking setup. But the fire department was there, and there was a few other elected officials, and then of course you had all the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and the bands and all the stuff that usually
Speaking
show
of
up.
that, guess who the newest Cub Scout den leader in Lawrence County is?
Den leader?
Yeah,
Is that you?
I'm jumping off the deep end, buddy.
What was it they called it when I was in the Boy Scouts?
Well, Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, and because trust me, there are people.
I
out
thought it
there
was a
that-
den mother.
A den. You were a den mother.
No, I
Okay.
wasn't. I was in the Cub Scouts, but I thought my buddy's mom was like over it, and she was called a den mother. Or
Okay,
something.
did and it's very possible. Did you have any little girls in Cub Scouts with you?
No, that was the
Okay.
Brownies.
Well, now, okay.
Come on, man.
Listen, the reason I'm asking is because I've went through a lot of training lately, and the reason that there are female den leaders or den mothers, as you put it, is because Boy Scouts, they have rules that, let's say, girls are allowed to be in. I said Boy Scouts. Girls are allowed to be in Cub Scouts, but the main rule is if you've got 12 boys and one girl, either the leader or the assistant leader, there has to be a female leader. It can't be 2 or 3.
So they still have Girl Scouts?
Yes,
Yes.
they still have Girl Scouts.
They
but
still have Cub Scouts?
They do, but girls are allowed now to be in Cub Scouts.
Do they still have the Brownies?
Yes, they do. So,
I'm confused.
well, this will confuse you even more, and it's kind of heartbreaking. January 1st, it's no longer Boy Scouts. It's Scouting of America.
So does that mean anybody can get in it?
Anybody can get in it. Anybody can join, and it'll still be Cub Scouts, but there will no longer be Boy Scouts. It'll be Scouting of America. So young Mr. Grooms, who's in kindergarten in age 5, he is a proud line scout or a line cub right now,
And you're a den mother.
and I'm a den mother. That's it.
I love it. I tried out for the Cub Scouts, and I couldn't get my Bobcat badge, so I quit.
What? It's like learning the oath and the motto, and you just got bored.
I couldn't do it. I said, you know what? It's not worth my time and effort. I'm moving on to bigger and better things.
Well,
So I quit. I was a quitter. I'm proud to say it. I mean, I'm not proud to say it, but I can stand up here and say it now. I quit. I was a quitter.
so we got a pretty good little group. We're not a big group.
And when I think about it, I still get a little sideways that they wouldn't help me out on that and shave a little off what I had to do so I could get that Bobcat badge. Because if I would have got that Bobcat badge, there's no telling where I'd be right now. I mean, I might be president over that daggum Bobcat badge.
You want me to bring you a Bobcat badge?
Would you?
I would.
I'll put it up there by my
All
switchblade.
you got to do, learn the motto. I know.
I'm not, no. I don't want to learn the motto.
Just because you're the sheriff, you don't get things for free. This is the Cub Scouts, buddy. Come
All
on,
I
man.
want's the patch.
Oh my goodness. Calling me.
All I want's a booster seat.
Right. Right. Well, we got 3 minutes.
I don't know what. We got Shop with the Sheriff coming up. So that is December 20th. Like normal, we're going to handpick some children out of our schools to go on this shopping spree with me and the rest of the sheriff's deputies at the sheriff's office. We'll take them to McDonald's and we'll get some food, and then we'll truck them over to Walmart and give them a gift card and let them go nuts. And
That sounds like fun.
Man, I'm telling you, it's
Y'all have a good time with that, don't you?
we do. Our goal this year is to raise 10 grand. We was just under it. I think we was around 9,800 last year. So 10 grand is what we're going to try to raise this
And
year.
your goal last year was like what, 6,000 or 7,000?
I think so.
Because I remember you being surprised on not only did you meet it, you went well past
Yeah,
it.
we went over it. We want to get 10 grand this year because it goes fast. Not saying anything negative about Walmart or anything, but y'all know as well as I do, stuff's more expensive now.
Yeah.
So that gift card goes really fast. But we got that coming up, and we're asking for donations. Anybody that wants to donate can come by the sheriff's office or call down there, 762-3626. Ask for Captain Jackie Hurd. We have to give you a receipt for it so we can show that we're not doing anything shady with the money. All the money goes towards those gift cards. Doesn't go for anything else. Everything else is donated. We donate our time and our efforts. McDonald's donates all the food.
That's great.
I think we get a school bus. The county donates a school bus and a school driver that trucks them over and kicks them out at Walmart.
And when you said that, I want to say a special thank you to our local McDonald's owners. I think they also own the McDonald's in Columbia too. Man, they take care of us, especially law enforcement. They really, really, really take care of us. And by them, donating the food for Shop with the Sheriff. I know this is law enforcement hour, but I mean, to our listeners out there, go get you a McFlurry or something. Support these people because they really do good stuff in our community. And,
Now, next, we may have to do a pre-record next show because it's going to be Thanksgiving, and that's my favorite week. That's my favorite week of the year.
Really?
Thanksgiving week, I love it. The weather's cool. I like all the families. That's like Christmas, but not as expensive.
right.
Exactly.
You got all your family down, and my brothers and nephews and everybody, and we all hang out and eat too much and drink too much and stay up too late and tell too many stories and hunt too much and do all that stuff that.
So also, before we go, letters to Santa at the police department. I had a teacher call me the other day and was like, "Hey, my whole class would like to give letters to Santa." That's a little bit overwhelming. Santa's kind of busy this time of year, so we ask that if you would like a handwritten letter from Santa to your little one, personally bring them to the police department. Let them walk into the police department. Possibly say hi to a cop. Physically put that letter into a 1930s cast iron mailbox that is beautiful, and get their letter from Santa. I love our teachers. I can't say enough about our teachers, but I don't need a teacher showing up. Well, excuse me, Santa does not need a teacher showing up with 15 letters expecting handwritten letters.
I like it.
All right.
All
Anything
right.
else?
Thanks, Ginger,
Miss
for
Ginger,
coming by.
thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you. And thank you for having Miss Winnie on with me.
Somebody's going to come adopt Miss Winnie. I can feel it.
I sure hope so.
All right, guys. Say bye.